I'm a retired petroleum engineer. I have 25 years experience in the oil patch in Alberta. 4 of those years were spent living here in Edmonton and working the Swan Hills unit for Amoco Canada Petroleum. I don't have any formal connection to any oil company or environmental organization, a think tank, labor organization, lobbying or special interest group, academia, or provincial or federal politics. But I was recently asked to sit on the Energy Policy Committee of the Provincial Alberta Party, but I haven't bought a membership in the party. During the last 12 to 18 months, there's been a great deal of attention directed at the Alberta oil sands. Pipelines exporting dilbit, environmental risks and liabilities, jobs, foreign ownership by provincial and federal politicians, journalists, think tanks, special interest groups, academics, and industry, not to mention celebrities like Daryl Hannah, Neil Young, and Robert Redford, and US politicians like President Obama. There's been a lot of talk and writing on energy, clean energy, dirty tar sands, clean energy strategies, Canadian energy strategies, and North American energy strategies. What I want to do this afternoon is to share with you a vision for a Canada First Canadian energy strategy. The reason I say Canada First is that many would have you believe that exporting raw bitumen is a Canadian energy strategy, and it's not. But first, I'd like to encourage all of you to use the technically and scientifically correct terms bitumen and bitumen sands. Using tar sands labels you as rigidly left-wing and perhaps radically environmentally activist, while using oil sands tends to label people as right-wing. But employing the term bitumen is not only politically correct, but politically neutral. Before we can save the world from what many believe is impending climate and environmental disaster, we need to get our own house in order. The essence of a Canada First Canadian energy strategy is the capture of $55 billion a year lost to Albertans and Canadians from the export of every 1 million barrels of raw bitumen as dilbit, and gaining economic control of our natural resources. But economics aside for a minute, the national interests of both Canada and the United States are best served by shipping the bulk of upgraded bitumen and conventional crude to Eastern Canada, with the excess going to the US Eastern Seaboard, where they need it the most, because they're also importing a good deal of foreign crude, and to international markets. And the rest, I think, to a West Coast terminal, and possibly an expanded refinery to meet the domestic demands in the BC Lower Mainland, with the excess exported to California and other international markets, including Asia. By not upgrading increasingly large volumes of raw bitumen production, Alberta is effectively increasing export of undesirable environmental risk in the form of dilbit by pipeline and rail to other jurisdictions. Nobody wants dilbit going through their province or state or anywhere else. I see partial upgrading of raw bitumen from in situ operations to produce a pipeline quality medium heavy crude free of diluents addresses many of the environmental, economic, operational, and cost concerns about pipeline, rail, and marine transport of dilbit. The Energy East pipeline proposal to ship conventional crude, syncrude, and upgraded bitumen to Eastern Canada could be operational as quickly as any proposed pipeline to export raw bitumen. Won't cost any more per barrel per day, is much more acceptable environmentally, maximizes jobs, economic benefits, and tax revenues for all Canadians, displaces all imports of crude oil, has a major impact on Canada's balance of payments, fetches near world prices and higher royalties for Alberta crude, provides access to the greatest diversity of world markets, enhances the social license to produce the bitumen sands, and provides national energy security. Pipelines to export raw bitumen to Asia, like Northern Gateway, and the US Gulf Coast, like Keystone XL, aren't required to develop Alberta's oil sands and to allow oil sands production to double by 2025. The Northern Gateway pipeline, I think, is the least likely to get built and should never be built due to environmental risks, public opposition, guaranteed multiple legal challenges, and inferior economics from national and corporate perspectives due to high capital and operating costs. There is little economic sense for Albertans and Canadians to ship raw bitumen to the US Gulf Coast, which is already awash in increasing volumes of domestic crude, and subject to increasing downward pressure in prices. As a result, TransCanada's Keystone XL pipeline proposal suffers from more corporate, economic, environmental, and market risk, provides no energy security for either Canada or the US, and little economic benefit to Canadians, and is inferior to their Energy East proposal in every respect. And I say that as a shareholder of TransCanada. The Westridge Marine Terminal in Burnaby, BC is the only marine tanker loading facility in Canada connected to a federally regulated pipeline. I think it's in the national interest for one such facility to be maintained and further developed on Canada's west coast, preferably near Tsawwassen, BC. Similar terminals must also be created on Canada's east coast at Levis, Quebec, St. John, New Brunswick, and Kamsa, Nova Scotia. There's 4 refineries in Atlantic Canada and 6 refineries in Ontario and Quebec that are all potentially capable of refining large volumes of upgraded bitumen. And there's 6 safe deep water ports in Atlantic Canada with existing marine oil terminals that are together capable of exporting almost unlimited volumes of conventional crude, upgraded bitumen, petrochemicals, and refined products at near world prices. Now, I believe the refining and petrochemical complex at Sarnia, Ontario must retain competitive, independent sources of Western Canada crude supply from Enbridge's pipeline system through Michigan from the west and from TransCanada's Energy East pipeline via an expanded Line 9 from Montreal. A Montreal area major pipeline hub could provide centralized and efficient control and flexibility for the physical distribution of crude and refined products for domestic consumption and export, and will set market pricing for Eastern Canada and much of the U.S. Eastern Seaboard. The premiers of Manitoba, Ontario, Quebec, New Brunswick, Nova Scotia, Prince Edward Island, Newfoundland, and Labrador must work together in cooperation and collaboration, not destructive competition and self-interest, to ensure and maximize the shared regional and national benefits of a Canada First Canadian energy strategy. The same is necessary for the premiers of Alberta and British Columbia. I think that recreating modern bitumen sands versions of the highly successful provincially owned Alberta Energy Company and the federally owned Petro-Canada Crown corporations will allow all Albertans and all Canadians to directly share in profits from the bitumen sands, reduce foreign ownership, and allow Albertans and Canadians more control on development. Low royalties have caused a scramble by foreign private and national oil companies to invest in the bitumen sands, leading to lack of manpower, strains in infrastructure and its funding, high engineering and construction costs, and long lead times for projects. In addition, low bitumen sands royalties fail to benefit ordinary Albertans and have led to budget deficits and stagnation of the Alberta Heritage Savings Fund. We Albertans must reverse the trend of increasing foreign ownership of bitumen sands production and of increases in raw bitumen exports in order to extract more than a nominal benefit from the bitumen sands to balance against their substantial and unaddressed environmental liabilities. We Albertans must be more proactive and less reactive and do a better job managing the environmental liabilities of our world-class resource. Significant environmental shortcomings of the bitumen sands include transportation of dilbit produced from in situ extraction, excessive greenhouse gas emissions from in situ extraction, emissions from processing and upgrading operations, reclamation and leakage from tailings ponds, from strip mine raw bitumen processing, and inadequate reporting and enforcement of environmental regulations. Oil pipelines to Canada's east and west coast are not just ideas whose time has come, but are absolute provincial and federal necessities of transcendent value and transformative power. They will be the energy backbone of this country and will provide all Canadians with energy security, will enhance energy security for the U.S., and will rival, if not exceed, the Transcontinental Railroad in economic impact and ability to transform and unite this country. The prosperity generated by a Canada First Canadian energy strategy will help us to an orderly transition to more environmentally friendly sources of energy.